Another job, I suppose.
If you can get one. And what are you going to do in the meanwhile? You got any money at all?
Yes?
No, Jack. You may need them.
Her romance with Olivier was now common knowledge, but Leigh Holman refused to divorce her. He thought the infatuation would soon pass. And though Vivien's passion for Olivier was now central to her life, her focus was still on her career. Vivien was applauded for her rendition of the flirtatious Elsa opposite Robert Taylor in the 1938 A Yank at Oxford.
My husband and I keep a bookshop.
You don't look like you belong in a bookshop.
Oh, I sometimes manage to steal away and forget it. But then, of course, my husband's much older than I am. I mean that I'm much younger than he is.
I'll bet he doesn't understand you, does he?
Oh, well, I wouldn't say that. He just forgets every so often that I'm young and that I need excitement. I've never loved anyone but you. I'll never love anyone again.
No, Elsa, now don't say that.
It's true, Paul. I shall always be faithful to the memory of our love. Always. I beg your pardon. Were you looking for something special?
Later that year, Vivien again won good notices for her performance as a Cockney street entertainer opposite Charles Lawton in St. Martin's Lane.
Who are you?
Libby. From Liberty. From the Statue of Liberty in New York Harbor.
What you do?
I'm a dancer, I am. And artist, right? Like to hear me? There's a one-eyed yellow monster to the north of Kathmandu. There's a little something...
More than flesh and blood can stand.
But I've been out late before.
Well, it's the last time. We've got to have a totally new arrangement. You in this room and me up there.
Charles, there ain't going to be any more new turns. I'm going on the stage. The agent and Mr. Prentice is fixing it all up. I told you I'd get there. I told you.
Vivien had come a long way from Little Bo Peep in Calcutta, India. She had appeared in 10 films, in 10 plays, but she was still not much recognized outside England. And then she heard of the search for a star for the movie version of Margaret Mitchell's best-selling novel. The setting was the American Civil War, the heroine a Southerner born and bred. Vivien Leigh had never even been to the United States, and her natural accent was the purest upper-class English. But the role was the most coveted in the history of movies, and Vivien Leigh decided to make it her own. And so she prepared to take Hollywood by storm. Even as Europe was about to burst into flames with World War II, in Hollywood, where war could still be fantasy, old sets on a back lot were burned for a scene for one of the most spectacular movies ever made, Gone with the Wind. It is now part of legend that against the unforgettable backdrop of Atlanta on fire, David O. Selznick first caught sight of Vivien Leigh. And Vivien had it planned perfectly. She looked radiant, and Selznick was bowled over.
He was overwhelmed by the determination of this lovely, delicate, fragile English girl to play the part of a Southern heroine.
She was, I'm told, the 244th girl who tested for the part in Gone with the Wind.
But after testing everybody imaginable, she was, there was no possibility of another choice. She was just it.
I remember Gone with the Wind with great joy. I was in high school at the time in Miami Beach, Florida, and we were taken out of school for the afternoon to see the film.
And my mother took me to see Gone with the Wind when I was a little girl. I was born in 1939, which is the year that Gone with the Wind was made. So you can imagine how many times my mother had seen it by the time she took me to see it.
She was just perfect. Absolutely marvelous.
Fiddly-dee. War, war, war. This war talk's spoiling all the fun at every party this spring. I get so bored I could scream. Frank, how'd you like to drive me out to my Aunt Pitty? Oh, Red, won't everyone be jealous? I want everybody who's been mean to me to be pea-green with envy.
Vivien was so utterly feminine, so fragile-looking. Sometimes you felt that if you touched her, she was going to crack like very fine porcelain. But that was also deceptive. She was as tough as a nut in many other ways.
Great boy! I'm my 40 years now. I'm going to Atlanta for that $300, and I've got to go looking like a queen. Keep boiling water in the kettle. With a ball of twine and all the clean towels you can find and the scissors. I'm going to make friends with the Yankee carpetbaggers, and I'm going to beat them at their own game. And you're going to beat them with me.
Never mind about loving me. You're a woman sending a soldier to his death with a beautiful memory. Scalertt, kiss me. Kiss me once.
You low-down, cardly, nasty thing, you. They were right. Everybody was right. You aren't a gentleman.
It was a great acting performance. She wasn't a spoilt girl. She wasn't a haughty girl. She wasn't a cruel girl. She wasn't any of those things, actually. She was a terrific woman, and she was a wonderful actress and played a marvelous role wonderfully well.
26-year-old Vivien Leigh had so successfully inhabited the character of Scarlett that she made it her own. And in one swoop, she created millions of adoring fans. But meanwhile, the one person she really longed to be with was 3,000 miles away.
The first time I met Vivien Leigh was on the set of Gone with the Wind, just when the picture was starting. Although she had romped off with the most coveted role in screen history, she was very miserable because Larry was in New York, and she missed him so dreadfully that one day she got David Selznick to let her come to New York and see a matinee of No Time for Comedy. And during the intermission, she went back to see Larry, and they clasped each other and clung to each other so that you'd think it was the farewell scene from Romeo and Juliet.
In 1940, Vivien again appeared opposite Robert Taylor in the romantic love story, Waterloo Bridge. Of all the films she made, this one was her favorite.
I've got to go away. I must never see him again.
But, my dear, what can it be that is so terrible? Has there been someone else?
Oh, Lady Margaret, you are naive.
Myra.
Yes. Yes, yes.
Myra.
Yes, that thought which is now in your mind, which you are telling yourself can't be true, is true.
Although the tragedy of World War II had by now engulfed Europe, for Vivien Leigh, 1940 was a bright and significant year. She received the Academy Award for Best Actress for Gone with the Wind, and Lee Holman finally agreed on a divorce with one condition. He was to get custody of their daughter, 6-year-old Suzanne. And then actress Jill Esmond divorced Laurence Olivier. While they waited for their divorces to become final, Olivier and Vivien staged their own version of Romeo and Juliet and lost their entire $60,000 investment. But happier events lay ahead.
I was spending an evening with Katharine Hepburn because I was interested in getting her to do a movie when the phone rang. And it was Larry Olivier. And he said, I want you to come downstairs in 5 minutes. And I said, no, I can't do that.